How did medieval peasant rebels outsmart knights? Imagine a time when the countryside was filled with tension and unrest. Peasants, who had little armor and no fancy horses, found ways to stand up to heavily armed knights. How did they do it? Well, they used clever tactics that took advantage of what they knew best. One of their favorite tricks was building wagon forts. They chained together carts and wagons to make mobile defenses. These forts could block cavalry charges and protect them from knightly swords and lances. Sometimes they dug ditches around these forts or used timber to close gaps, turning open fields into strongholds. These wagon defenses also served as platforms for ranged weapons, giving peasants a way to fight back from a safe distance. Peasants were also skilled at using the land to their advantage. They knew the local terrain very well. They fought in rough, uneven areas where knights' horses and heavy armor were less effective. Think of narrow mountain passes or thick forests where cavalry couldn't move freely. This made it harder for knights to use their speed and power. Peasants also organized themselves into groups called hofens. These groups had leaders and some structure, which helped them coordinate attacks or defenses. Even without formal military training, they could act as a united front when needed. But fighting wasn't always the only way. Peasants often used negotiation as a tool. They made clear their grievances about unfair taxes, restrictions, and heavy burdens. Sometimes they demanded specific concessions like lower taxes or more freedom of movement. If they could hold out long enough or win small victories on the battlefield, nobles and church leaders might sit down to talk. This way, peasants could gain some of what they wanted without risking total defeat. Their revolts were part of larger problems in late medieval Europe. Economic troubles, rising taxes, and social tensions pushed peasants to resist more actively. They used a mix of open rebellion, clever tactics, and negotiations to challenge the knights and the feudal system. Despite their lack of armor and cavalry, they outsmarted knights by turning the battlefield into a place where their knowledge, organization, and strategic thinking made a real difference. They showed that even the most heavily armed warriors could be outmaneuvered by those who knew how to use their environment and work together.